With Father's Day approaching, I have been thinking about the times I spent with my grandfather Booker and my father Fred. I thought this would be a great opportunity to share some of those thoughts and memories with you guys. Reminiscing on the times I spent with my grandfather Booker, a lot of stories come to mind, but one that really pops out in my head has always been the times I spent with him fishing at the distillery. You know, from the time I was 4, 5, 6 years old, every summer we would spend the afternoons fishing at the lake at the distillery. And if you were lucky enough to know my grandfather Booker, you know that some of those memories are unrepeatable. But one lesson I did learn from him that I can share with you is fishing is a lot like making bourbon. Just like you have to wait for the bite on your hook, you have to wait for the perfect barrels to come of age before pulling them from the rack houses. There are a couple of annual experiences that I share with my father Fred that I truly enjoy. One of which is curing country hams a couple weeks after Thanksgiving in the smokehouse in Jim Beam's backyard. We try to use the same process that my grandfather used and taught my dad and myself when I was younger. And if you know my grandfather and his love for country hams, I'm pretty sure he'd be damn proud of how we're doing it. My dad and I visit my grandfather's statue at the Jim Beam American Stillhouse and share in a drink of the latest batch of Bookers and grab a photo. And even though he may not be there, it sure feels like he's right there with us. A favorite memory of mine is when we were on the way to my first UK basketball game. He fell right outside of the truck, and while it took him a while to get up, we ended up going to the game anyways. And the next morning he went to the hospital and had a broken leg. He was very dedicated in wanting to take me to that game because it was my first experience. I see that a lot in him today as well in work. He is very dedicated to what he does. Booker was an innovator. He created the small batch bourbon collection and was a pioneer in sparking the bourbon boom. I see a lot of myself in him and the fact that I enjoy making new products and blending things together in the lab. And maybe one day, if you're lucky, you'll get to see some of that stuff on the shelves. If I could sum up my dad in one word, it would be unfiltered. He tells you like it is, he's honest, dedicated, and always straight to the point. If I could sum up my granddad in one word, it would be ambitious. He was very ambitious to re-spark the bourbon industry by creating the small batch bourbon collection and always tinkering and trying to make the best bourbon he could. The most important thing I learned from my father is honesty. A man is nothing without his word. And I try to carry on that value with me every day at Jim Beam. My dad's favorite saying is, my granddad's favorite saying is, and in fact, my dad thought that was his name for the first 20 years of his life. You know, when I was little, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer when I grew up. But how could I ever pass up the opportunity of working side by side with my dad and continuing on the family legacy like the 7 generations before me? Speaking of Father's Day gifts, if you know my father and his love for ties, you know that I've never bought him a damn tie. But he does really like that electric knife sharpener I bought him last year. The greatest part of my job is working side by side with my dad every day, tasting bourbon, sharing family stories, and creating new ones, just like he and my grandfather did over their time together. What I hope they say about me in 40 to 50 years, that I've continued and contributed to my family's legacy of making the world's best damn bourbon. I've never felt a burden coming into this industry because I know if I follow the lessons I've learned from my father and grandfather, I'll continue to make some damn good whiskey. And hell, it's in my blood. What intrigues me most about making bourbon is that every day there's a new lesson to be learned. And I learned a lot of those lessons through the countless hours of flipping through my grandfather's notes. When did I realize my dad was a bourbon rock star? When I was once traveling with him and hundreds of people lined up just for his signature on a bottle. I'd like to wish my dad a happy Father's Day and let him know how much I truly appreciate his guidance, support, and love for me, as it has helped make me the person and father I am today. And on this Father's Day, I'd like to raise a toast to all the fathers out there, from our family to yours. Cheers.